The menstrual cycle is one of the most important biological rhythms in the female body, and yet many women reach adulthood without ever having it fully explained. Not really. Most of us were simply taught that a period happens once a month. We learnt about tampons and pregnancy, and that's about it. But the period is one event. The uterine cycle refers specifically to what's happening inside the uterus, the building up and shedding of the uterine lining. And the menstrual cycle is an entire hormonal conversation happening throughout the month between the brain, ovaries, hormones, uterus, and reproductive system. So while your period is the most visible part of the process, it's actually just one phase of a much larger hormonal cycle. It affects energy, mood, sleep, appetite, skin, libido, emotions, memory, stress response, even how social or confident you feel. And once you understand that, so many things about your body suddenly make more sense. So let's go through it simply. An average cycle is often described as 28 days, but healthy cycles can range anywhere from around 21 to 35 days. And importantly, not every woman will experience her cycle the same way. The cycle is usually divided into 4 phases: the menstrual phase, the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. A menstrual cycle officially begins on the first day of bleeding. That's day 1. This is the phase most people simply call your period. If pregnancy has not occurred during the previous cycle, hormone levels drop, particularly estrogen and progesterone. Because those hormones fall, the lining of the uterus sheds. That shedding is menstrual bleeding. For most women, periods last somewhere between 3 and 7 days, though again, there is natural variation. During this phase, many women feel more tired, withdrawn, emotional, or physically uncomfortable, though experiences vary hugely. Some women feel relieved once bleeding begins, especially if they experience PMS beforehand. Then comes the follicular phase. This phase begins at the same time as menstruation, but continues beyond it, all the way up to ovulation. During this phase, the brain releases FSH, follicle-stimulating hormone, which encourages several follicles in the ovaries to begin maturing. Each follicle contains an immature egg. Usually, one becomes dominant. As the follicle develops, estrogen levels rise. And this rise in estrogen affects far more than fertility. Estrogen often improves mood, energy, motivation, and mental clarity. Many women notice they feel more sociable, optimistic, productive, or confident during this phase. Physically, the uterine lining also begins rebuilding itself in preparation for a possible pregnancy. Then comes ovulation, which is triggered by a sharp rise in luteinizing hormone, LH. At ovulation, the follicle literally breaks open and ruptures to release the mature egg into the fallopian tube. The egg then travels into the fallopian tube, where it can potentially be fertilized by sperm. Ovulation timing varies from woman to woman and cycle to cycle, but ovulation typically happens around the middle of the cycle, though not always exactly on day 14. An egg survives for roughly 12 to 24 hours after ovulation, but sperm can survive inside the female reproductive tract for up to 5 days, which means pregnancy can occur several days before ovulation as well. Around ovulation, many women notice physical changes. Cervical mucus often becomes clearer, stretchier, and more slippery, similar to egg whites. Some women experience increased libido. Some feel more energetic or confident. Some notice mild pelvic discomfort called ovulation pain. Then comes the luteal phase. This is the phase after ovulation. After ovulation, the ruptured follicle transforms into a temporary glandular structure called the corpus luteum, it begins producing large amounts of progesterone alongside some estrogen. Progesterone's primary role is to maintain the uterine lining in case of fertilized egg implants. But it also affects the brain, specifically GABA pathways, which are involved in calmness and anxiety regulation. Many women feel more inward, quieter, or more reflective during the luteal phase. If fertilization occurs, the corpus luteum continues producing progesterone to support the early pregnancy. If pregnancy does not occur, the corpus luteum breaks down. Progesterone and estrogen fall, and that hormonal withdrawal triggers the next period, beginning the cycle again. It is also this hormonal drop in the late luteal phase that drives PMS, premenstrual syndrome, in many women. PMS symptoms can include irritability, low mood, anxiety, breast tenderness, bloating, headaches, food cravings, fatigue, and disrupted sleep. For some women, these symptoms are mild and manageable. For others, they are significantly disruptive. And for a smaller group of women, symptoms are severe enough to interfere meaningfully with daily life. This condition, called PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, is a recognized medical diagnosis and is treatable. So when women say they feel different across their cycle, that is true to our biology. And another thing we really should have been taught earlier is this: a healthy menstrual cycle can tell us a lot about overall health. Because ovulation requires communication between the brain, the ovaries, the thyroid, the adrenal system, nutrition, energy balance, and metabolism. Stress, undereating, excessive exercise, illness, thyroid disorders, PCOS, endometriosis, and perimenopause can all affect the cycle, which means changes in your cycle can sometimes provide useful information about your wider health. And maybe the biggest thing I want women to take away is that understanding your body changes your relationship with it. When you start recognizing patterns, you stop feeling like your emotions or energy changes are random, and that awareness can be incredibly empowering.